tons of software to run our business now. Now we need new stuff. I think it's becoming increasingly clear to most people that this is quantitatively, qualitatively different in terms of whether you have extensive training. You know, if you're on the network and you make anyone read a manual or go to training for anything, you're out of business. There are 1,000 competitors standing behind you to give people a tool they don't have to think about using it. It just works. Complexity experts to make changes, predetermined uses. So this is one that's very interesting. Is these multiple outcomes. We often use to buy solutions to solve a particular problem in our organization. But what we see with these very emergent freeform tools is we might get a single initial use out of that data, out of that collaboration point, but then that information lives on and gets reused and combined elsewhere in the organization and rolled up and analyzed and so on for years and years after. You get all of these downstream effects that you weren't aware of, these second order, third order, fourth order effects. So McAfee defined the different things that have to be in social media tools. There's two case studies. He extracted some patterns. He said, these seem to be the things that make this stuff a lot better. You've got to have these. And it's held up very, very well. And that's why we still use the term so heavily, we still refer to his work. This is constant slate. So you have to have search, because we can't discover that information inside on the network. It matters not. That's why the web works for us. You have to let people forge links. Now, that's one thing that I still see greatly under-encouraged in most organizations. It's link structure, by the way, that makes search work. That's why you can find things on the web that you can't find anything inside your organization. Because inside our IT departments, we have systems that didn't understand link structure, and that's how you make information relevant. And by every time you forge a link, you teach the network what matters, what's important, what's right, and so on. And that's what Google does and all the other search engines. Authorship, we now see this changing. Most people now have access to the tools that work. Up to a third of organizations globally, and it's actually higher here in North America now. And tagging, extension, and signals, which we can encourage you to look up. They're very important in the Enterprise 2.0 story. So we're talking about richer outcomes. The social media in the enterprise, freeform IT give you more potential downstream outcomes. They continue to pay you back. It was interesting to see. I figured there'd be diminishing returns, for example, in that call center. That they would get a slight increase, and then, after a while. Well, what they actually saw was, as soon as the network began to learn, as soon as the tools were in everyone's hands and used every day, that it began to just steadily fall over a long period of time. But it began almost immediately. So all these downstream effects as the system learns more and more. So in the old 20th century way of doing business, it was kind of like the way that the Soviet Union used to have 5-year plans. You take all your procedures and policies and your standards and your ideas for new products and everything, and you push it down into the organization and spread it out. So this is what you're going to do. Kind of don't do anything else but this. And a lot of people standing around waiting to say, all right, well, I actually have a better idea. We're closer to the problem. We can improve it. Where we see now this shift. It's not 180 degrees. Right? We're seeing the shift in the pendulum away from this push-based systems. Now that we have these very open collaborative tools, these pull-based models that encourage people to say, hey, I'm actually at the point where the business is running. I need to change something or improve something or do something. I'm sure because all of this is so open and transparent, everyone can check what I'm doing, but I can run with this and do something right when it matters, when there's still time to make a difference. So this ad hoc processes and problem solving, cross-pollination, that's one of the big benefits we're starting to see, and McAfee's measuring this with something called weak ties. And innovative methods, competitive-driven outcomes. When everything's transparent on the network, if another department has a better idea, everyone can see it and go, I know you guys really want to do this because you thought of it. That is a better way to do it. And you really drive this competitive aspect inside your organization that wasn't there before. You don't even have to encourage it. It just happens. It's the natural outcome of doing business in a more social manner. And there's many other benefits. These pull models are great. McKinsey's doing a lot of work with studies on this. It's a much more efficient way to run a business, and it's the natural outcome of social media inside the workplace. A couple other really important things about social media I see people don't understand fully. But when they see this, they go, oh, yeah, it makes perfect sense now. I get it. And he said it's non-interruptive and it's highly leverageable. I've been talking about the leverageable aspect, but this non-interruptive piece is really important. The collaboration tools, the tools we use to communicate right now, like phone, messaging and email are interrupted, right? You're sitting there and your BlackBerry goes off, or instant messaging window pops up, or your phone rings. That disrupts your thought processes, it disrupts your work process. Whatever was going on stops. And then, there was always a tax to get it started back up again. Whereas these things, these new social media tools, blogs, wikis, and others, many other tools now on top of that, they're non-interruptive. They allow you to work all the way to the end, and when you want the information, you can go get it. This is one of the lessons out of the DRKW case study Dan Hinchcliffe did, was that project managers can say, don't give me your status, don't email it to me. When I want your status, I'll go look at your blog, or I'll go look at your wiki status page. However they agree to set it up, that's what they go do. When they want the information, they go pull it. Instead of having it pushed, pushing is inefficient, pulling is efficient in some way. We'll get to that as well. The other thing is scale. Blogs and wikis scale to many more simultaneous conversations. How many of you want to be in a 50-person conference call? One person can talk at a time. Everyone else is standing around, and they have to stop what they're doing and listen. Whereas you can replicate the exact same effect with a virtual conference call inside these community tools. It fundamentally changes things. People can do it when it's time efficient and convenient, and it's non-interruptive of workflow. It's just a more natural, more efficient way to do business. And it scales up well. I thought about a 50-person conference call, but how about a 50,000-person conference call? That would, think about the cost of that. Well, again, these tools, we see blogs and wikis scale up to millions, like Wikipedia, tens of millions of simultaneous contributors collaborating, dynamically exchanging ideas, working together. The scale of these things is so much better as well, because they don't have they're very asynchronous. One of my favorite ways of doing this. So challenges with this. I said, well, there's all these benefits. Well, there's got to be challenges. Well, there's tons of challenges. Most of them aren't very big, but in aggregate, there's some barriers there. You add it all up. One is the enterprise is not the web. We can't just take simple tools that are designed for the consumer space and move them into our enterprises. And our enterprises work differently. We have a lot of data stuck in other systems that we want to collaborate. You really want people copying and pasting information from database systems and putting it into blogs and wikis. Saying, here's the latest sales report. I want to get it out to everyone. But as soon as the other people say, well, what about current data? Well, what's nice is a lot of the more modern tools understand that. The latest enterprise tools have a broader perspective. They say, no, we want to take all the good stuff that was happening in consumer social media, and we want to marry it with this, what we call this enterprise context. So certainly when you're out there looking for tools to do this for your organization, look for tools. If it is really a business application, something you're trying to do for your business, you want to be using a different set of tools, potentially. So just briefly, this is how an enterprise 2.0 ecosystem would look like in your organization. You have your traditional, that's a blue circle, green circle on the upper right, internal applications and databases. But on the left, you have all these new tools that are emerging, right? The blogs and wikis. Most industries have a social network now, a community. Like I see the chemical industry has it, the publishing industry has it. A social network you've got to be a part of. It's kind of different from all the other ones. You've got to have your business connected to it. You've got to be participating there, or you're not a player in that industry. You have prediction markets. We don't have time to get into all that today. Other Web 2.0 tools, and of course your enterprise social network begins to build this vast repository, this deeply linked structure of knowledge that you can then find. You know who knows what, who is doing what. It's amazing just for knowledge location, expertise location. Never mind the fact that you can actually now greatly shrink the time frames that business processes operate, because you're not continuously trying to collect information. You have to wait to find the person and then wait for them to prepare all of it for you. When we're doing our work in a more social, globally persistent way, it doesn't happen anymore. And then search works. A couple other key points. We've been through two major revolutions as a society in the 20th century and the end of the 19th century. And one was the Industrial Revolution, where we said, hey, doing this by hand is too hard. We have to move all the work out to something that makes it easier, which is machines. As we built machines, we do a lot of manual labor, right? So this is the same exact shift that we had before. From doing it all ourselves to we got the machines to do it. Now we're much more productive.